So, dear friends from France, Switzerland, and Germany, I'm very happy to welcome you here on the campus Kamgarn from the University of Applied Sciences in Kaiserslautern. Okay. Usually I speak loud enough, but that's fine. We're just working here already with artificial intelligence. Yeah, I mean, cameras that are tracking the people that are talking here. So I'm very excited to have a kind of a practical example for this, what we are doing today. I welcome you, not just myself as the Vice President of Research and Transfer from the university. I also welcome you in the name of the President, Hans-Joachim Schmidt, who cannot be here today since he is today in very important meetings at another campus, otherwise he would definitely have been here, of course. Nevertheless, I'm very happy to have you all here. And here means physically here. I'm happy due to three reasons. First of all, we are here in presence, also in limited numbers. So we are restricted to 90 persons. And so we had to cut off the interest of the people when they wanted to take part. So nevertheless, 90 is better than nothing. And I really estimated the situation that we have the first presence conference here on this campus after the pandemic. So for me, this is a very special day and a very special situation. Second, I'm very happy because we do have an excellent program. And that's thanks to all of you who submitted excellent talks, posters, abstracts. And I guess you all have the proceedings. And when you look at that is great. I mean, I'm very excited. And third, we have an excellent weather today. Also, it's autumn and it rained for quite a while. So you will have the chance to look around the campus here and see it in autumn colors and you might also detect some nice spots here. It's a very nice place. How we are proceeding and how you are able to walk around, and you have to walk around because we will split later on the revenue, because we will have one session here and one session, the life science session will be in another building, and also the lunch will be in another building. You can walk that, it's not that far, it's a matter of a few minutes, but we will nevertheless guide you there, so don't be bothered, we take care of you. Interestingly, the University of Applied Sciences is a university with 3 campuses. Yeah, so we have the campus here in Kaiserslautern, but we have also a campus on Zweibrücken and in Pirmasens. Some of you might not even know these places, but if you have the chance, look at them, not just the cities, but what the people are doing there, because it's very interesting. All of these campuses are quite new and have been a conversion has been established due to conversions. All of them have been industrial areas or military places. Yeah, so here in this, here in Kaiserslautern, this is a historical place. So the name is Kamgarn, which means combed yarn. Yeah, so this was a spinning mill. So they produced these specific yarns here for quite a while. And as you all know, many technologies, many industries really broke down, like shoe industry in Pirmasens, also textile industry here. We also have, we are also the place of where one of the most famous sewing machines was produced, Pfaff. Yeah, and we still have the Pfaff area, which is currently transversed in an urban quarter with new aspects, also looking at ecological aspects and everything. So things are changing, but we are also a a city here in Kaiserslautern of AI, of artificial intelligence. Yeah, so Kaiserslautern is an example for successful conversion from industry to science. We do have the Technical University, we do have the University of Applied Sciences, so here we do have many research institutions, and all of them are working with AI. Some of them are even very famous for that and have it in their name. I mean, I'm very happy to have Professor Andreas Stengel here, who will also give a talk, and he is the director of the German Research Institute for Artificial Intelligence here in Kaiserslautern, so he will give us more information about that. So we are a city of artificial intelligence. We have, in the country, we have currently a kind of an initiative for AI. So the country wants the universities, the industry, the companies to use AI and to bring AI forward. So last but not least, we shouldn't start the meeting without mentioning another very important point for the city. And some of you who are already aware of Kaiserslautern, and they have seen this huge stadium we have somewhere up there, and others might not know that, but Kaiserslautern is also a place for soccer. Yeah, famous soccer team, Erster FC Kaiserslautern. I'm sorry, I am not very favorite of soccer, but I have to mention it, it's my job. And I'm also not very happy that they are just at the moment fighting to get back, not in the first, but in the second league, and from there maybe back to the first. So, okay, we all wish them the best to succeed, and I wish you a very nice, pleasant, interesting day, new contacts, new inspirations, new motivations, and I thank you for listening to me, and I also thank, of course, all the people around you that you might not have seen, but you have had contact to most of them by getting your badges, by seeing them running around. We have a very perfect and enthusiastic team that really made this event possible. So thank you very much for all of you that participated in organizing and doing and preparing this wonderful event, and so welcome. And I'm very happy also, Franz, Quint, as the director of the TriRhenaTech Association, to have you also here and to give us a few nice words about TriRhenaTech and what we are doing here. Thank you.
So I'm very, very happy to see you and welcome you all here in presence at the third edition of the TriRhenaTech Conference on Artificial Intelligence, the Upper-Rhine Artificial Intelligence. TriRhenaTech has discussed and decided to make these conferences back by the end of 2018, and the first conference has been in March 2019 in Offenburg. At that time, except of the invited papers, all papers have, of course, been from the TriRhenaTech Universities of Applied Sciences in the larger Upper-Rhine area. The idea behind that was to bring together the researchers from the TriRhenaTech Universities, from France, from Switzerland, from Germany, to make ties between them and to enable the scientific discussions. However, from the beginning on, we made the call for papers open to everybody, and we observed then already in the second edition 2020 that the papers came in not only from the TriRhenaTech universities, but also from other universities, even from other than the 3 countries. The edition in 2020, everything was prepared, everything was ready, but due to the pandemic, it could not be held in presence. And however, we have been very pleased that at least we could issue then the proceedings of the papers. Finally, we are now here in presence again, and I want to thank at this point, Karl-Herbert Schäfer has already said it, but for sure he hasn't mentioned himself, and he also deserves great, great thanks. He and his team, Ms. Scholl, and all the others which are running here around and taking care that everything runs wide. I think I can express this thanks also in the name of all of us. For this, yes. For this conference, we had 43 submissions for papers coming, as I said, not only from the TriRhenaTech universities, from other universities in Germany, from far away even, also from other countries. I just want to highlight one aspect, namely the fact that 25% of the submissions are in cooperation with companies, mainly small and medium-sized companies. And this, in fact, emphasizes also our own understanding of what we are doing here, and of the fact that research on AI is important, but also the research on AAI is important, on applied artificial intelligence. Yeah? Each of our conferences, URI conferences, has its own field of applications, and the field of application of this conference is applied artificial intelligence in life sciences. We will have one session of oral presentations with 6 contributions in the afternoon, which is just about life science applications, and I can promise you for that very, very interesting talks. We also have a second session with 6 oral presentations related to other fields, to industry, to mobility, to construction and others, showing not only the very broad field of applications of AI, but also the broad field in which this research at our universities takes place. I also want to encourage you to visit the poster sessions during the breaks. You will find there many, many interesting papers for which we did not have the place to put them into the oral presentations. And for sure you will have interesting discussions with the authors there. The Technical Program Committee has done in a voluntary work a great job in reviewing and selecting all those papers. And at this point I want to thank all of them for the good work they have done. The 2 sessions will be introduced by 2 invited papers presented by 2 well-known and senior scientists in the field. They both deal with AI in life sciences. I want to thank Andreas Dengel and Christian Herta for being here and for sharing their thoughts with us. So I wanted to give you an overview of what's happening today, because I'm an engineer, and for myself, I need to put everything in a frame. I need a shelf and I need boxes where to sort all that knowledge in. But as an engineer, please allow me to give also a personal view on this field of artificial intelligence. I must say before that I'm an electrical engineer. I'm dealing with communications, with digital signal processing, with image processing. So I'm not really in the core of the field. I'm someone who applies artificial intelligence. As such, what I'm telling you might be correct, or it might also be wrong, the same as the results of the neural networks. So, I'm now more or less an old man, but in my youth, now 30 years ago, I also worked with neural networks. It was at the beginning of the 90s, by that time with perceptrons and backpropagation, with radial basis function networks or restricted Coulomb energy networks. It was a hype at that time on it, and one really thought that one can solve every problem with the neural networks. It was the time of the PCs with Intel 386 processors, with transputers, who still remembers transputers, with Sun Spark and Silicon Graphics workstations. And when at that time we looked back for 5 years, we thought that we have an infinite processing power, yeah, for that time. Well, times have changed, and in the second half of the 90s, it became in fact quite quiet about neural networks and about artificial intelligence. Time passed, the processing capabilities evolved even more in an exponential way. We didn't thought that maybe at that time, but also the algorithms, the methods evolved. And now the neural networks, and in fact that's what now is associated with artificial intelligence. Somehow nobody speaks anymore about semantic networks or about expert systems, which clearly are also part of the term artificial intelligence. So they came popular again. And this rightly, because they have really great successes. The performance of deep learning is really impressive, and one can do things now which we did not thought that it was possible before. It was not only an evolution, it was a revolution. However, some of the problems we had at the beginning of the 90s, in fact, we still have them today. Yeah? We still discuss about a number of hidden layers, about pooling layers, of whether to use 5 or 6 of them, whether to use ReLU or CeLU or some other fancy names. And we cannot give an explanation. We cannot say what to do. It is in fact all about the experiments, and that these experiments have been successful in a particular setup. Whether they will be successful in another setup, we do not know it. Yeah? And why? Well, in fact, because we cannot describe what the networks are doing. We know that they are universal function approximators, but we do not know the function which they are implementing. Although they operate in a deterministic way, we cannot predict the results. We have to try it, we have to do the calculations, then we see the results. But we cannot derive it mathematically. And not knowing the function, we also do not know the Jacobian of the functions. Yeah? We do not know it analytically, and we even cannot evaluate it numerically. It is on one side because of the high dimensionality we have it, but it is even more fundamental. If we would like to sample the domain to do it numerically, we do not know how to sample that domain, how to choose the multidimensional sampling frequency. We do not know how fine to make the grid to evaluate it. In fact, we do not know the bandwidth of that function. You see, I'm coming always back to my electrical engineering background. As a consequence, we have no idea whether our training data covers the entire domain. Well, in fact, we are sure that it does not. And yet, we hope that everything goes well. This might be a problem. And the consequences of all this are, in fact, that the robustness of the networks suffer. Yeah? That phenomenon of adversarial examples is known, is well known. The fact that just slight changes in the input data may cause tremendous changes in the classification result in the output data. Clearly, this problem is known to the community, and we have concepts of local robustness, of global robustness. They have been defined, but in fact we do not have it under control. So we might put the question whether we are ready to put our lives, as it would be in the case of applications in life sciences or also in autonomous driving, to put these lives into the hand of the artificial intelligence, yeah, our lives. Another point is the fact whether it is a good idea to feed the networks with the raw data, to tell the network to learn things which we already know, which we have learned at school or at the university. Yeah? Some algorithms, some methods we know from mathematics or from system theory, which are very clear for us, but which the network has still to understand. So the question is, why to rely on a poor AI and why not to combine the traditional, well-established methods with AI to make a hybrid AI? Yeah? It is, of course, a little bit also of an exaggeration in my words, but I think this is needed to put the finger in the wound in order to foster the progress or to achieve the progress. I believe that our conference, which we have today, will contribute in maybe a tiny amount, but it will contribute to that progress, and it will contribute in the same way as other conferences also do. But I'm convinced that we will achieve the biggest progress if we combine artificial intelligence with human intelligence. I wish you many insights in this conference, fruitful discussions, and I thank you all again for being here today. Thank you very much.
Dear colleagues, dear all, I'm the director of the National Institute of Applied Science of Strasbourg, but I am also the vice president of Alsace Tech in charge of artificial intelligence. And the president of Alsace Tech asked me to present Alsace Tech on the new program. So Alsace Tech, as you can read, is a network of 14 engineering, architecture, art and design, business schools in Alsace. We work together in Alsace Tech since 2007. It represents 80 degrees in 8 main areas: building, mechanics, chemistry, art, design. More than 10,000 students, and you can see in the figures that we have about 6,000 engineers, 1,000 architects, and management, artists, designers. So most of the diploma are master diplomats. So we have close to 2,000 graduated per year. And you can see that it's not 50% of women and 50% of men. And maybe that in the field of AI, we can see that we are in the lower part of women. And Alsace Tech is a part of TriRhenaTech since 2014. In Alsace Tech, 4 schools have research teams specialized in artificial intelligence. Telecom Physics Strasbourg, which is a member of University of Strasbourg, INSA Strasbourg, and CISA, which is a member of University of High Alsace, Université de Haute-Alsace, and the CESI. More researchers in other areas use AI, geophysics, architecture, and so on. And we launched a new joint program in artificial intelligence. We start with some conferences, and the Région Grand Est, Grand Est Land, fund us. We have the news last week to extend the program with 3 main objectives: sensitive all the students and professionals with the use of AI thanks to series of conferences. We will continue that. Last year, 2019 to 2020, we have more than 2,000 participants. Develop some 4 days intensive training sessions, spring school, to improve technical and scientific skills of the engineer, and to build an interdisciplinary post-degree diploma in AI. We are discussing the form of that, the type of, but probably a master. This is the few words that Laurent Biguet, the president of Alsace Tech, asked me to pronounce in front of you. Thank you.